Hey everybody, how is it going today? Happy Wednesday and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to go over trades that I made in AgriForce, Growing Systems, and Snapchat. And then after that, I want to get into some other nice looking charts on my watch list. Now, before I get started, as always, everybody, please remember I am not a financial advisor. All of this is just my opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Please make all of your own trading decisions. All right, well, I'm going to start off with the high flyer on the day, and that was AgriForce Growing Systems Limited, ticker symbol AGRI. This one came out with the news that they were purchasing an ag tech European consultancy company, and I don't know why that was pushing this stock up so high, but for whatever reason it was, but not a big deal. All I'm looking for is a volatile stock at the open so I could make a potential scalp day trade, and that's exactly what I did on AgriForce. But man, look how much volume is pouring into this stock. Just went over 250 million shares traded on the day, and like a normal trading day for this one, on the 13th it traded 137,000 shares. On the 8th it traded 44,000 shares. Yeah, come over here to the let's go to the 19th. It traded 368,000 shares, so that was actually a higher volume day, but man, just tons and tons of volume coming into this stock. But I actually traded this one at the open. Let's go intraday. I'll show you what I was seeing on this one. Let's go to that 5-minute chart. And if we go to the 5-minute chart, this is what I was looking at right off the open. Let me see if I can back it up here so we can see it a little bit clearer. But, you know, I saw this big, giant green candle come in, and I was waiting to see how it consolidated, and it made a little bit of a sloppy, bullish pennant formation, but it was a pennant formation nonetheless. When you have this much volume coming in, the patterns aren't going to be very pretty, especially in a stock that doesn't trade that much volume typically. And what I wanted to do was buy on a break above 330, and that's exactly what happened. This was the bar that I bought in right here. Actually, let me go to the minute chart so we can see it just a little bit better. Let's see if I can back it out here before we get dizzy. But this is that bullish triangle formation, that bullish pennant that I was looking at, and this was the candle that I bought right here. So I got in at $3.30 a share, and this thing was up over 10% in the blink of an eye. And before I could even think about putting in my sell order, this thing got halted, and I absolutely hate when stocks get halted when I'm in them, because it just seems like invariably once they reopen, they seem to go against me. So once the stock gets halted, I immediately get annoyed and want out, you know, sooner than I typically do. Because usually when something gets halted, you know, they halt it a few more times. But as soon as it reopened, I mean, this thing went up just a tiny bit, but then reversed hard. If it would have broke down below this trend line right here, I would have probably just taken my small loss. But it ended up, you know, bouncing off of this trend line and then reversing higher again. And I got out at $4 a share right here. So I made a quick 20% on AGRI, but man, this thing just kept going. If it probably wouldn't have been halted, I probably would have had more patience and just kind of rode this stock up until you know, it broke down below this 8-period exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. So let me go back to the 5-minute chart. And I would have probably just, you know, rode this thing up, you know, who knows? I mean, this thing was going up so high, so fast. I probably would have tried to call the top. I'm sure I would have missed it, but I probably would have got a heck of a lot more out of this one because, man, this thing just ended up screaming. And by the time this trade was over, you know, it just felt like they were giving out big fat loaves of bread and all I took was one crumb, you know. I mean, but you know, you could depend on stocks to make these type of huge moves. I like to take my quick, you know, 15, 20, 25% on a fast moving stock and then move on, because usually you're not going to get a whole heck of a lot more than that. Even though on AgriForce Growing Systems, man, this thing just screamed. But we can see it's already under distribution. Made a little bit of a another bullish pennant formation right here, but it was so extended that this ended up being pretty much a trap. You know, if it broke out here, if anybody was looking for this breakout and they didn't get out right away on that breakout, you know, they kind of got trapped in this one because it immediately rolled over. There's still some time left in the day, but if I had to guess, you know, this thing's probably going to continue to drift lower into the close. But just a very nice trade on AgriForce Growing Systems. All right, so AGRI was the good news of the day. Now, the bad news of the day was Snapchat. I actually tried to catch this falling knife, and unfortunately, it did not work out. I've been looking at this chart, and it just seems to me that Snapchat is going to have a snap back. No pun intended, sort of, but it should have a pretty big snap back. Probably back into this 8-period exponential moving average before too long. I figured it would have started that retracement back up by now, but man, just continues to be a lot of sellers in Snapchat. I have noticed that ARK Invest is loading up in this area, but apparently it's not enough to support the stock because it continues to roll over. But I figured since it was coming into this area of support, we would probably have a pretty decent chance at getting a bounce back move. I was just hoping to catch, a little bit of a swing trade, a bounce back up for a couple of days or so, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen just yet. I'm keeping my eyes on Snapchat, and I definitely want to be involved in this bounce play. I'll probably try to take one more shot at it, and we are getting into this support area right here, so if this area does end up holding, let me see if I can situate this a little bit better, get a better range. It tends to get caught up on some of these candles here. It just kind of has a little mind of its own. But this is the area that I'm looking at for support if it continues to fall, which it looks like it's probably going to do. And if it does, I'll probably be watching this on an intraday basis and try to catch the move up, because I think it should be a pretty violent move right back up, at least for a day or two. And if I catch that just right, it could be a big gainer. But let's go to the 5-minute chart and let me show you what I was looking at, why I took this trade, and exactly what happened. Let me situate this thing a little bit better here. All right, this is what I was watching on the 5-minute chart. I was looking at this little rounded bottom formation happening. I had my resistance area right about there. Once we got this gap up today and then it started to hook up, I placed my order right here. Let me get a circle here, right here, to try to catch this breakout. I was thinking that if we got a breakout past this level here, we might consolidate a little bit, go sideways, and then continue that move up. But that is not what happened. This was a false breakout. It immediately rolled back over, tried to break out again, but found resistance right at that level again, right at $56, and then just rolled over hard and stopped me out just under $54 a share. So not that big of a loss, but I think that Snapchat is going to have a nice little bounce once it does. So I'll continue to watch this one on the 5-minute chart and probably the 15-minute chart as well. This little loss that I took in Snapchat, I plan to get back with interest because I do think this thing is going to have a nice bounce up, and I intend on catching it. But let's get an update on some of the other stocks that I'm watching right now. All right, the first one on my watch list that I want to get into is Progenity, ticker symbol PROG. I talked about this one yesterday, and what I was saying is that I was hoping that Progenity was going to continue to, hold this little area here, maybe continue to go sideways for a few more days, and that looks like that's what's going on so far. There's still time left in the trading day, so, this thing could end up going either way, but the fact that it's making a little bit of I wouldn't call it an inside day, but it's definitely holding near the upper end of yesterday's range. That is a very bullish sign as far as I am concerned, especially since this move is so far extended. The more that it can hold near the top end of this range, the more bullish it is. And if we actually go to that 15-minute chart, take a closer look at what's going on, you can see it's getting pretty sloppy up here. I wasn't looking to buy, or at least put in a buy stop to buy on a breakout, because I figured it would have to move around a little bit, and that's what we're doing. And it's probably going to take another day or two to get a solid range, but this is what my range is looking at right now. If Progenity can continue to move sideways to maybe slightly down and then start to round back up, I'm going to be very interested in taking another position in Progenity. And by the way, all of this is just my opinion. It's not investing advice. But if you guys do want to know what we are trading, I do have a Patreon link down there in the description. It's only $10 a month. And if you are enjoying this content, if you don't mind hitting that like button, that really helps out the channel with the YouTube algorithm. But man, as I am talking about my Patreon, this thing is rolling over on me. But I do want to see how this thing shapes out for the next day or two. And if this thing just continues to stay in this upper range, I think I want to try to buy it on a breakout. But as far as I'm concerned, the price action on Progenity is still looking pretty darn good. If I could just get my software to work, then there we go. The next one I want to get into is Skills. I actually closed out this trade yesterday, but it is still making a pretty bullish pattern. This thing is continuing to hold these levels, which of course is a bullish sign after an extended move like this. So if this thing can hold this level and then start to break out again, I'm very interested in taking another position in Skills. If we go to that 15-minute chart, take a closer look at the current price action. You can definitely see it is having some trouble with this resistance area, this last area that I ended up selling at. And I kind of figured that was probably going to be a stumbling block for Skills, but the way that it's holding up, it might not be a stumbling block for long because this price action is still rather bullish. I think, barring a huge down day in the market, if the market just continues to melt up like it's doing, I think Skills could be breaking out of this level. And, if it breaks above 1155 or so, I might end up taking another position in Skills because the uptrend is still very strong, and I'm not thinking that it's over just yet. So Skills is still looking good. Another one stock I want to get into that I am holding is CleanSpark. CleanSpark had this big extended move up. I actually sold some $25 calls just a couple of days ago, and those calls are down a little bit. I'm actually considering, covering those and just taking my gain in those calls that I ended up selling because this price action in CleanSpark is looking rather bullish. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we get a blast above that 200 period simple moving average, this yellow line on the chart, because I definitely don't want to have CleanSpark close over $25 a share since I sold those calls. I don't want to lose my CleanSpark shares. I definitely want to be in this one for a while. I just thought that since it was getting close to this 200 period simple moving average, we might have a little bit more of a retracement and I would be able to cover them much lower. But man, CleanSpark is just continuing to hold its own up around these levels right here. And let me go to that 15-minute chart. And as we can see, it's having trouble with 1850-ish all the way up to 1875-ish. And it's not pulling back hard, even though we got sellers clearly right here that are not letting it go any higher. It's definitely not falling very far. So if this thing just continues to melt up a little bit, we could have an explosion through that 1875 area. So man, CleanSpark is still looking very bullish despite this big extended move up. I was talking about this rounded bottom way down here, and this thing just seems like it is way down there now. We've had a very, very nice move out of that rounded bottom formation, and man, it looks like we could be ready to blast through this 1875 area soon as well. Let's go back to that daily chart, and one more thing that I want to talk about before I closed out the video is I finally took a position in Planet 13. I've been watching this thing for months and months and months. I didn't want to get in this thing anywhere over 5, but I've been watching it real close as it broke 450. Put in an order about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, to buy some at $3.76, and I got executed, or the order got executed. I didn't get executed, but the order got filled at $3.76, and this looks like a pretty stiff support area. That's why I put my order in at $3.76. We might get a bounce here. We might not. If it continues to drift lower, I'm probably going to end up adding to this position. I actually kind of hope that it does end up breaking down through the support level because I would like to add some more shares near $3 a share because I do think that Planet 13 does have a lot of potential, and I plan on going out west here in another few weeks, and I definitely want to check out that Planet 13 and see if it's all that they're saying that it is. Okay everyone, that is all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, or if you have any other ones you want me to take a look at, please leave it down there in the comments section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care everybody.